Yeah, it's a pleasure to give a speech today. As usual, when I come to the conference, I want to give a presentation about something. So it is also your choice if it is long or less long. If you pick a question or say, well, that's not important. So the speech will be a newbie speech of someone who got the task to build a very small Android application. So first of all, I want to show you my telephone. So I'm still using this type of telephone. So it's 100% Android free. And the device which will pass around even doesn't have a SIM card. So it was never used as a phone or whatever. And well, I always feel a bit strange when I'm touching it. What feels good on it is that it is very similar to Unix and Linux and so on. So I was really, on a positive way, surprised that it was easy to use and Android was so powerful, and it was really easy to get Tcl scripts on it, but I'll speak more later on. So about my speech, the task was, so that's a Windows 8 one. Here's the application to put that here on this phone. I will speak about company I'm working in, it's company Oehlmann, then a bit about the application which was to port, how it started with Android, and then a bit what I have changed to make it usable on Android, so the user interface. The last step was to get the APK. APK file is like an exe file or install file on Windows. I will end at the end with my Tcl activities and the Tcl wish list, what I had on my thoughts, especially to get some discussion on the future of Tcl. Okay. Yeah. Here's my name written, so it's a bit complicated. I'm sorry for that. It was not my choice to have that name. That is the town where I'm living here in Germany, which is 4 hours east. Where's the sun? Somewhere like there. 4 hours this direction. So direction Russia. Yeah. My chat name is and Hao. So yeah. So first point, the company I'm working in is called Oehlmann. We are in Auto ID, so we are working barcode and RFID, especially in standards. And last time, also Internet of Things standards. So our company is charged to chair the German standardization in Internet of Things. We have 8 employees, and we are mainly developing in Tcl, so we are making solutions for enterprises, and we have a TCL dev kit license to do that. Okay, so my main power as an engineer is in image processing and barcode. So I write software to decode this stuff. That's the code I have developed when I was a child. So I was born with barcode. So in 85, 83, around this time, I started with barcode somewhere here or that, and it didn't stop up to now. Okay, the application which was to port on the Android is called Scan. So that's basically how it looks like. So you have an entry field here, and if you press enter here, it decomposes it on those fields. So that's all what it does. And if you enter something here, it creates that string. So that's a barcode contents and the barcode explanation. So that's basically what it does. And I've written this application around 20 years ago, so it's quite old. It was written in Tcl 8.1, and already at this time I was working with variable font size. So here's a slider possibility, so you can open that and you can change the font size. And that in industry that was always very handy, because people use that to check barcodes. It is used in production sites, and people want to see what they see, what is shown. So it's not office-like, it is more industrial-like, and their adjustable font size is very handy. It has a fixed window width, there are no scroll bars, it clips with the windows is smaller, so it just cuts away if there's not enough space. So that's basically the application. And now going to Android, it's quite funny because many properties of the original application are way Android-like. First of all, we have this adjustable font size. So in Android, we have those pinch gestures where we zoom in, zoom out. And the second point is that there are no scroll bars, and well, here's a menu, but it's not really used. So organization is by buttons. Here are 4 buttons. So it is already an application which is way usable on an Android phone. So what happens if you throw it on the Android phone? So I downloaded, it was not me actually, a colleague of mine who knew how to use Android. He has first of all installed the Total Commander, so you need a file editor. So then he has downloaded the APK, has put it on. It was automatically installed by the system. Then I have copied the TCL file, I have made a double click on it, and it worked. And that's incredible. That is really incredible. So nothing edited, nothing changed, it just worked. So that is, for me, that was amazing. Because I know Windows CE, I have made many applications with TCL and Windows CE. Those barcode terminals normally use Windows CE. And each script, what you just start, it will crash. I can tell you it will crash. There are thousands of features not supported. It is all problems. Here it just worked. It didn't crash, it didn't do anything, it just worked. That was really amazing. So the device I have, so I have bought a device, I didn't know which one, so I looked, oh, let's try a Google one. So it's a Nexus, I think 5 or something like that. And I tried it on that and how it looked like. So you have the Android buttons here down here, then you have the application and it is clipped. So the application looks out here and you can pinch it to zoom it and unzoom it, and you can move it with the finger around. So all those that worked out of the box. So basically what is happening is that you have a virtual bigger screen, quite a huge one, and you can zoom in your application over the screen, or you can make it smaller. So that just works, and it works in an incredible speed, so it feels really natural if you do that. Okay. That's what I was talking about. If you enter here, the cursor in here, the keyboard pops up. So all this stuff works. So it's really impressive. If you have the experience with Windows CE, you have to program all this stuff. Here it just works. So I was really amazed. And what also works is if you turn the device, so the screen flips and all adjusts that it is working and so on. So the basic work was done. I thought, well, I didn't know what was the state, but I thought it was a bit experimental, but really it is not. It is really usable. It is really in a good state, the Android stuff. So that was my first experience. And I thought, okay, tomorrow my program will be finished. The next experience was, well, I first typed in the console which was present on the screen to test something. And I had contact with Christian and he said, well, what is the font size? What is this value? And so on. And I typed it and I copied it. And then he said, well, there's a console and you execute those commands in your Android, you do that on your PC, and you take the TKCon application and you connect to localhost 12345, and then you have a full console on your PC, and that's really great. So it is on debugging side and so on. It feels really like that program runs on your PC. So also that is really comfortable, and again, comparison to Windows CE, I had no control on this type. It was always a trial and error. I put a script on, I started, it crashed, okay, let's modify it and try it again. So here you really have a feedback and you can really use the console and it doesn't crash. That is the main advantage. You must be happy with basic things. So I thought, how will I do my user interface design? I have funny colors on, but you don't see them on it, which is, yeah, okay. So I have small ones, so we'll do it differently. What I wanted to do, what I intended to have as user interface, I don't want to use a viewport functionality, so that the application is half outside and by pinch zoom, the whole application shouldn't zoom, only the center should zoom. No, that's wrong. I don't want to use the viewport functionality. I want to manage it on my own. I don't want to have a menu. I always want to have visible buttons below here, so it's always visible. And I always want to have this part visible. This part should be scrollable, so you put the finger on and you should be possible to move it around. And I wanted to have the pinch to zoom feature, but not the way it was done before with this magic viewport stuff. I want to change the font size. So all stuff arranges to this new size. So basically, if I do that, I want to change the font size. So that was my idea, how I wanted to create the user interface. And what I've done, I've read the documentation of someone in the room, and for me it was quite clear, and it was not so difficult to implement it. I've switched the viewport off. That was the hardest one to find. So this magic command. I've taken from the Y key the sframe.tcl by Paul Walton. Why have I taken that one? Because there was mouse wheel scrolling in. And I thought, okay, mouse wheel and finger moving will be a bit the same thing. So perhaps I can use that. And that is basically what I have added to that S-frame. So there's a binding on finger down and finger motion. And here's the script. So basically what it does is it adjusts the X and Y view. And what you have to know is, well, what is the unit you have? Well, in the Android, all units, or I don't know if it's all, but those units are screen width divided by 10,000. No, that's wrong. You get from the left to right is always 10,000 points in this sense and in this sense. So to get on the real one, you take the screen width, you divide by 10,000, and then it stays under your finger. I will pass that around. You will try if I'm right or not. It was my first try. So again, it took me half a day to implement that, so I was really happy. I hadn't discovered so far the examples by Christian. So later I saw that Christian has done all that already, but that was my solution. It is also good that Christian has the speech after me because he can smile a bit about what this guy is doing. Next point, pinch. So pinch to change the font size. So what I wanted to do is 2 fingers on, you move them, and the font size change. Anything is zooming in, zooming out. So you bind on pinch to zoom. You bind your own piezo function. I have made it all so you can read it a bit shorter. So %x is how much was moved, %s is what is doing, or other way around. Yeah, it's that. So there's a state. So there are a lot of states. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Start and finger. And on the start, I just take the current value. And on 0 and 2, 0 is motion, 2 is end. I change the font size in conjunction of the difference. So that's basically what's happening here. For me, it felt natural to take, again, the screen width, 10 times through the screen width. So I took that measure. I had 2 Android phones, so that one and the one of my colleague. It's a HCT whatever, so a much smaller one. So that felt a bit natural to do that. Okay, you see again, not a big deal to implement it. It's really, for great functionality, it is really little code. Okay, Last thing I have implemented. Now I have buttons where you have to hit with your fingers on. So the buttons must have a certain size, and I thought, okay, my buttons should always be 2 text lines high, and if they are too hard to hit, the people can pinch zoom larger, so it's easier to hit the button. So that was basically my idea. So I changed the button size with the pinch to zoom stuff. And what you have to cope with, this device has an incredible resolution. So 2500 pixels. It's normally a screen like that. So if you buy a television like that, it has the same resolution than that one.
So that's even more than full HD.
Yeah, it's more than full HD. Yeah. So that is a Lilliput high screen television, a dwarf high screen television. Yeah. So you have to cope with a big variety of resolution, and one of the main problem I have in graphical interface design with TcL is graphics in buttons, because they are always the wrong size. So what I have done here, I have made all my images in 2 sizes, 32 times 32 and 64 times 64, and I changed the image independent of the size of the button. So that's what's happening. And yeah, with the pinch to zoom, I change between the 2 graphics. On this device, you will not see that, because the 32 times 32 is 2 times 2 millimeters in real size. But on the HTT device with 640 pixel size or something like that, you really see the difference. You really need that one. Yeah. So a bit code about, well, that's standard TcL code. I do here some stuff to change the buttons and to change the button size. Okay, so here's the final Android version, how it looks like, and I want to pass it around. I'm sorry, I have to unlock or whatever this device. Move up. So basically, to explain it, what it does. So down here you have the button with a barcode reader. So that's something I've totally forgotten to explain. It was previewed. If you want to use barcode, do it like that and use the action and call that, and that worked out of the box. So if you press that, this mechanic is started. But what is really hard is to read barcodes with this device and with the camera. So I have a code here, a typical one, and well, I don't enjoy it too much because the camera is made for other stuff. Oh, I was quick. So that was a scan, and then you get the data. Okay, so that's the code to scan. That's the device to play with, and yeah, now I can't stop speaking because anybody can play. So that's the final program.
So it's not ordinary barcodes, it's QR, or what are you using? Something similar.
The barcode symbology is not important. It reads linear barcode, it reads QR, it reads, that's the data matrix symbology. Yeah.
Do you use the ZX library? Zebra crossing?
Yeah. So the ZX is installed on it. People who know the Android can change that or see it or whatever. I'm not so skilled in that. But anyway, so that was the final program, and I took until here 3 days. So that was for me incredible speed to port the device on Android. So okay, it is an easy application, but the adaptation necessary to make it usable on the screen was really small. It is, you will see it if you use it, it is not the final goal. You can do many things. I have mainly written it in the train. You see that the graphics here are not very beautiful. I've written that on the train, and it is made with GIMP, so it's not so nice. But anyway, 3 days. So how does the program look on the desktop now? So I have changed the program to be the same source on desktop and on Android. So here I do it a bit differently because I have more space here. I put the buttons beside this line. So on the Android, one goes over the others. Here I have the menu line added. I don't have on Android. And You can see there's a button with an I, which means information, where the instructions coming on, that is in the menu here, it's not on the button. But basically, same code, usable on both platforms, which is great for maintainability.
Have you ever put this on a tablet, maybe 7 or 10 inch size?
One should try, yeah.
Yeah. You can try tomorrow doing mine.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I would appreciate. Yeah. Okay. So now it's a bit harder story. Now I have a TcL file, it runs good and so on. Now I want to put the stuff in the app shop because I've heard that an Android application must be in the App Store. So someone told it to me. Well, let's look what happens. To do that, the dummy needs an APK. So, and of course, you look in the web and here's the address that someone wrote how you do it. So that's instructions. Especially the last phrase, fiddle the REST directory with a new really cool icon and title for your app. So the main word is fiddle. So you have that on the Android wiki. So I started with this text to build the APK. I have documented all that on the wiki, and Christian told me, well, the documentation is quite good, so let's put it in the Android wiki page, so it's now on there. So it was a story of 1 week to get the final APK, and the problem is not so much because it is Android, it is because it's new technology and I was totally new to it. So first I tried it on Windows, that doesn't work. Then I tried it on CentOS, it didn't work. Then I downloaded SUSE Linux in the fuzzy box, so up there to the left. This one got my friend, so I had on my Windows OpenSUSE Buzzy box. You have to put SUSE Linux, you need Java 7, so the 7 is quite important. You need any SDK, you need the NDK 9. Already to find it on the web, it's not so complicated, so please follow the wiki, the link is in there, it's nowhere else on the web. You have to build the local properties, then you type ant-debug, then it takes 40-50 minutes compiling, and you end up with an Android. My next step, the Android is 12 megabytes in size, around that, or 16 or 21, something like that. Well, it's quite a huge package. 26 megabytes in size. So I thought for a small application like that, that's not too much appropriated in size. So I thought how to customize it. And first I deleted for this application unneeded stuff. 90% of the packages, the x86 target, the fonts. I add my own scripts in asset main.tcl, just copy it in there. I change the package name, that is a bit a longer story. You need a Java class to do that, so quite a bit Java code, a bit directory structure stuff. You only need the required permissions. You know, if you start the application after installation, there comes, this application wants to read your phone and wants to phone for you and wants to use your internet. This application doesn't do anything of that. But because those properties are defined, it will ask for it. So I have had to take all those permissions away. The only permission I could not take away is the permission use internet or use sockets, because otherwise the Android will not start. So no, the camera is not used by the application directly. It is used by the decoder application, which is a synth decoder. And so we don't need the right for the cameras here. Yeah. Okay, then started with an intent action. Normally scripts are started with somewhere else. So started directly, put a new icon. Then I thought signing will be a big issue. They need APIs must be signed and so, but it is really a small issue. You just need in 5 minutes make some commands. You type and release. You wait 40 minutes. and you have your 7.8 megabyte APK file. So that was the end of the story after 1 week, and I can really invite you. I have written a tutorial you can follow, so if you want to do it, it is really straightforward, I would say. It is feasible, even for a Windows dummy programmer. I have some knowledge with Linux, but no knowledge with Android. And if you have a good idea or a reason to bring a program on Android with Tcl, that is really possible. I can give an example, which will be my next application with Android. It will be an application for hospitals, where the script consists of 700 source files, where there's database connection, where there is web service calls, many other things. All this stuff works out of the box with an Android which is in the current network. So that's really great. So that is perhaps fun, but porting an application like that, which really brings value, is basically the same as porting that small one. You have to think a bit about the user interface, a bit about the environment, but basically it just runs. And that is really, really, in my point of view, good news. Okay, due to that, I have brought a small flower thanks to Christian Werner. Yeah, so that's... I also really felt with him because it is a one-man show, and I also want to invite you to use it to help him, because it's a big opportunity, and to try to do things. For example, all the widgets I have done with the pinch stuff and so on. Of course, that is all on the Y key, and there's much work to do to make more usable things for Android, and it will only happen if there will be more developers. And even dummy people like me are able to contribute a bit. Okay, so thank you so far. Please.
You interface from your app to the zebra crossing for reading the barcode.
Yeah.
What did you use before because zebra crossing is specific to Android, so you must have changed this interface.
Yeah.
What did you use on Windows or on other platforms before?
On Windows, I use a scanner in the keyboard. I use a keyboard scanner, or you type in by hand. It's really
you mean a separate keyboard scanner that is a separate physical device?
Yeah, well, it's a PC and it's a physical device. Yeah.
And on Windows CE, does it have a camera?
It has a camera. Windows CE has all that built in.
But that could read the barcode.
Yeah. So Windows CE, we have barcode scanners, but they also simulate keyboard entry. So you get it like a keyboard entry. Yeah. So you have the entry field at the top, and it goes in like keyboard entry.
And interfacing the zebra crossing library was easy?
1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So the example was on the web page, and yeah, it is. But it is, if you have had it in your hand, it is really not. The device and the camera is not comparable to a good barcode scanner. That's.
But it comes for free with the device.
It comes for free. It is for play, and for especially, I would say, for quality assurance people and so on, who has it in their pocket and go in the plant and check, okay, here's a barcode, I want to quick check it.
Your data matrix code is only 1 by 1 centimeter.
Yeah.
If you have one 3 by 3, it's far easier and it can focus it far better.
Yeah. The problem is the camera is built for landscape photos, for big, far
and
away.
For distances, maybe 30 centimeters or further, not for 10, 15 centimeters.
Yeah, that's the problem. Please?
There's a problem I found out with smartphones and their cams. So I wanted to photograph my meter, gas meter or power meter. The flash destroys any picture if it comes to, let's say, 30 centimeters.
Yeah.
If I go 1 meter away, well, the resolution might be not sufficient. So can you control the flash by the application?
I did not care about that, because I use another application which reads the barcode, which controls the camera and so on. I just say, read now, And if you had the device in your hands and it changes screen, so the barcode reader comes in front, he cares about it, and if it has terminated, it goes back to my application. But I'm sure it is possible. But what I will do if, for example, if I do that in a professional environment, I will use a small scanner, a specialized scanner, and connect it by Bluetooth. Yeah.
The sheet of paper in front of the flash will do.
So Androwish is able to connect to Bluetooth, and we can connect the barcode scanner, which is a good scanner, then by Bluetooth, and then we'll make beep, 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 beep without problem. Okay, other questions? Okay, so if you remember perhaps, I had normally today I had to be in the US because of a conference in the medical area. So my talk there was cancelled, so I jumped in here very late. And I thought, what will I speak about? Well, mainly for me this is networking, and I want to tell you what I'm doing. If you have any questions or anything to do, so you can come to me where I have experience. So that's basically why I want to tell you what are my TcL activities. And there are always the people I'm doing networking with behind. So that's also an invitation here, and I want to make a discussion later on with the TCT members, but also with you, how to increase networking and how to better blossom TCL under the current conditions. Okay, bWidget, I'm currently the maintainer. I understand only 5% of the internals of bWidget, but I'm the maintainer. So if I have questions, I normally ask Colin Dankert. This is a colleague of Josh, who always have a good answer. Kevin Balzer is caring for Macintosh, always very responsive. I'm officially, or whatever, responsible for the MSG cat package. And thanks to Joss, the tip 412 now passed. So, well, I'm really alone there, but in my point of view, it is a really important package because it allows to make our applications international, and that on a good basis. And everything what is done in international at the moment, if someone has looked to the code of clock.tcl, it is just horrible what is done there with MSG cut package. So things are double cached and so. So if we would have a powerful package here, we can do better things. So that's also why I'm convinced here we get better. So the next step, dynamical change, is passed. I will put that in the core in the next weeks. I'm asking for help, especially for the object-oriented extension for it. So if there would be people thinking about that, how to use MSG cut with OO classes, I would be glad to get something like a tip or something like that. Core Windows socket driver, I'm working together with Reinhard Max. This also, perhaps you have heard about the story of tip 428. He finally failed this tip, so it was no fun neither, and at the end it was taken in state draft because we want it, but we don't want it like you. I have made 3 implementations, 3 different ones, and each time someone was moaning about it and I changed it, and it is just no fun because so that's also a point of discussion. So I'm working with Reinhard Max, please.
You said about the UDP or the socket stuff you said about UDP sockets?
No. The 428 is if an asynchronous socket is started to get the error back as message and as dict. So to get the error code back. Yeah. So that's the point. It's a very easy thing. In code it is 3 lines. In C code. But we could not find the end. And we could not find the end especially because people like Alexandre Ferrieux and so on, they discuss on the general purpose of is minus error in general necessary and what should it do and so on. That's not the discussion that exists, this guy. We have another point. Yeah, so that is here. Reinhard Max is my partner. Reinhard Max excuses himself today. He's building his house. So I hope he will be here in the next year again. Synth barcode generator, I've made a TCL interface, so that's not TcL, that is C, but I'm maintainer there. On the Rivet side with Massimo Mangi, which is a guy I really appreciate. I have made a work TCL Survivor's Fork to again with Alexandre Ferrieux, who is really a good guy who knows everything, but for me way hard to handle. I speak French. I normally have no problem with French people, but yeah, it's sometimes hard. And form package together with Mr. Lehmbauer. I've written that in the train. I hope all names are correct. I had no internet to verify it. The RPM stuff with Reinhard. The image patch, I've written a solution for to write the resolution in the BMP. That is many years ago. I have met first time with Jan Nietmans, who is always helpful for me. Each time I have a problem with the core, I normally first contact Jan Nietmans. Because of one reason, he's in my time zone and he's really responsive and he can tell me if I have a stupid idea or not. So, so thank you for that. Core Windows Makefile with Donald's and the TcL web service. The last time I'm mainly working with that together with Gerald Leisner. Basically, my interest in TcL is industrial interest. So I have industrial problems. So that also changes the type of problems I have. If I have a problem, it's urgent. I'm sorry for that. Okay. So to end up with a TcL wish list, I have just brainstormed what I would like to see in the TcL. There are many more things, of course, but just to have a list. I would appreciate to get help on the tip process. So I would invite us later on when we speak on the core, how we could help each other to cope with a tip process and to get it more useful. So for me, get early feedback if something might be usable for TcL, or if the TCT says no, we don't want to have that. So that's basically the main point, to get an early feedback. And then if it is really in a state where it could get in the core, get more push to get it on the core. Yeah, so that's basically the tip process. I would appreciate help for object-oriented MHD CAD, I've already mentioned. I'm really seeing a push in the barcode terminal side direction Windows CE, which is old, which is obsolete and so on, but companies are still using it a lot. And I have the EuroTcl 857, which did not develop, which has many issues. So that's a problem I have each day with TcL in my business time. I would like to have a teamed tab widget with scrolling of the tabs. So you know, the BWidget get one, you can scroll left, right, but in the TTK one you cannot. What I often would like is a list equal command. So list 1 equal to list 2. Yeah, I do many things with list comparison, and yeah, that would be helpful. I am also a puristic guy. So I don't like to use side effects. So I really like if things are expressed the way it should be. So that's why I'm asking that. Of course, I can change that to a string, that to a string, and then compare it. Or put it to a canonical list, change a string and use equal. But I don't like those things. That is a bit side effect stuff. I really want R2 lists equal. Okay. The same for dicts equal with no order. I would like to have a Windows 8 application theme. So now you know in Windows 8 you have this application view where the widgets are totally different. We don't have that on TKN yet. I would like to have an Android theme. That doesn't mean an Android native theme, but widgets which are more appropriated for Androids. So think about TTK widgets which are specially done for that. And I would like to have transparency in TK. So often some effects are only possible with transparency, so that's also something I'm missing. What I'm also missing is, I haven't written it here, scalable icons, scalable graphics. So SVG rendering, for example. So a possibility like SVG rendering to make small buttons like a printer symbol and so get it in all sizes. Yeah. And I tend to like to have things in the core. So I always want to have, that's also the question I had to Kaspar. To have, for example, drag and drop in the core and so on, because it is much better maintained if things are in the core. So I always invite you all to try to enhance the core. Yeah, because then we have a better, then that is a standard. For example, drag and drop, we have the BBitGit implementation, we have that implementation. So if we have it in the core, we have the standard and it's better usable, better maintained. I would like, we are not many people in Tcl. I really enjoy if we concentrate on not so many solutions. And that, I think, one way is to put more things in the core. Okay, so thank you for listening. Yeah. Any questions? Yeah. So thank you. Well, it was a pleasure. So yeah, good. That's.
So if there are no questions, then we will switch over
Yeah.
from the newbie to Mr. Andrei.
Yeah.
Let's see what he